Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to get that stunning, immaculate, well blended, flashback proof, highly affordable, beginner friendly makeup look. It is all in one. I know I did a video like this recently, but this time I added a few more products. My technique is better than how it was before, and I have a few makeup tips and tricks that I feel like nobody ever talks about. I start off by moisturizing my face with Vaseline, then I do my brows so that the Vaseline will enter into my skin. Before I conceal them, I set my whole face with any loose setting powder that you have. I feel like this keeps my makeup from not getting oily throughout the day. I actually have dry skin, but for some reason makeup gets oily throughout the day. For my makeup to not separate while I'm doing it, I spray the loose powder with a setting spray. I use this Decal foundation in the shade Sexy Almond, which is a bit lighter than my skin tone. I use it under my brows and I pump it at the back of my hand. All my products I'm going to put on my face, I pump it at the back of my hand first before applying it on my face with a brush. I feel like that way I have more control. Once I'm done with the bottom, I do the top with a slightly darker concealer. They're almost the same thing. Once it oxidizes, it'll be slightly darker than the one I put under my brow bone. My brows and my eyes, they are distant cousins, so I try as much as possible to make them as even as I possibly can. Once I'm done, I blend the darker concealer out first, and I blend the lighter one under my brows with the same blending brush. I feel like that way it gives more of a natural finish. I check my brows to see if I like them and if they are even enough. Now we're done with the boring part. It's time to move to the fun part, which is foundation. So I use this Decal foundation in the shade Mocha. I pump it at the back of my hand. I use the back of the brush to flatten it on my face and then I blend it out. I feel like this way is more seamless and I have more control over the products that I'm using rather than pumping it directly on my face. When it comes to shade matching, match your foundation to the bottom part of your face. So don't match it to your neck, don't match it to your chest, don't match it to your arm, match it to your face. Specifically to your jawline area, because that's the part that the foundation is going to show. I take my time when blending it out. I blend it down my neck. I don't blend it into my hairline because the contour is going to do that. I just blend it as seamlessly as I can. Once I'm done, this is how it looks like. Very skin-like, well blended, very nice. This is now my favorite part, which is my concealer placement. I remember when I started doing makeup, I used to think like a concealer can never be too light, contour can never be too dark. The only thing that should match your skin tone is your foundation, and boy was I wrong. So this concealer is like 1 or 2 shades lighter than me, and my contour is a shade darker than me. I allow my concealer sit on my face. I feel like that way I get the fullest coverage out of it. While I'm waiting for it to dry up, I put my contour on my blush. For the placement of the contour, I put it from the top of my ear to the corner of my mouth, my forehead, my jawline, and then it's after I blend out my concealer that I now contour my nose. I like using lip stuff as my cream blush. If I'm not using this lipstick, I'm using lip gloss. I don't know what it is. I'm using a red lipstick. I feel like it's the same thing. No need to spend on this ceremony. This is everything blended out very seamlessly. Before I blend out my concealer, I spray it with setting spray. That way it's just easier for it to blend. I first of all blend it with a small dense brush, and I'll go in with my beauty blender and blend everything so it will melt into the other products and it will look like skin. Now I contour my nose. I feel like this is the best way to contour my nose. Just place it where I want it to be placed and then blend it out. I don't know how to describe it, but this is just the best way to contour my nose. See how it already looks matte and everything is just looking fine and seamless and looking like skin. But now it's time to set it with setting powder. I always use pressed powder first and then loose powder, and when I'm using both, I use a shade that is very close to my skin tone. I don't see the need for translucent setting powder. I feel like that's even what causes the flashback. It's so hard to blend, it leaves harsh lines, and I just don't use it anymore. Once I started using powders closer to my skin tone, my makeup has been skin-like. I go in a shade darker to set my contour, and then I go over the pressed powder with a loose powder just to set everything in place and to make it look matte. I love all the shades in this blush palette, but my favorite shade is Mature. I just feel like it's very nice and very subtle. Blush blindness is a trend that's going on, and I promise you it doesn't look good in reality. You look like a clown if that's how you want to look good for you. But if you want a subtle natural makeup look, then use a subtle blush shade. This is my favorite matte palette at the moment. It is so pretty, so beautiful. It's the Naked palette, and in the palette I just use 3 shades for an everyday look, which are Sona Butter, Safe Sex, and All Night Long. I just feel like they make the perfect eyeshadow combination for an everyday look. I line my under eyes with a black and brown eye pencil. Sometimes I use purple and brown, sometimes I use red and brown, depending on how I'm feeling that day. I now do my eyeliner. This is one of my favorite parts of my makeup routine. When it comes to mascara, this is a very cheap mascara. I wipe off the excess on the wand so that it wouldn't smudge or get disgusting. To line my lips, I just use the purple and brown today just so it will look natural. Just put random lip glosses on my lips still. I like the end result. I spray this fixing spray so everything can melt into itself and it will look like skin. Last but not least, I highlight everywhere I want to highlight, and that's the end. This is the finished look. Absolutely gorgeous, immaculate, stunning, well blended, beautiful, goddess. Mwah. Thank you for watching.